Good morning, this is Shantae with Brown Sugar Talks, coming to you from Black Unicorns. Anyway, I am talking today. Yesterday I was about to make a post, and then I was my whole phone call was just totally interrupted. Man, this is messed up. Well, my whole show was interrupted with a phone call. So yesterday it's I came to this realization. It was something I taught my students in class, don't associate yourself with certain things. And sometimes you can't help that, because some people will see it as color, they'll see the sex of you, they'll see everything else but you. So it's sometimes you cannot help but be associated with some things. But if you can help it, don't associate yourself with that. Also, creating an environment for yourself where you feel safe, welcome, and warm, because sometimes people will want you to accept what they have given you, and it's almost okay, wait a minute, but this this isn't acceptable, this is not how you treat people, this is not what you do, and this is not the lengths that you go to. And some people will lash out because it's I don't want that, and how do I get that point across to you? So in those instances, I saw this advertisement where this guy was running and his foot was in the air, so it looked like it was a knife, but the guy had his face. So what they did was they took the circle, they put a circle around. I wish I could find it again. So they put a circle around that part, so it looks like one guy is trying to attack the other, but really the guy whose face was in the image had the knife behind him trying to attack the other guy, and the other guy was running away. So it just depends on how you see it and what part of the images that you see, because depending on what part of the image you see, then that's the impression that you'll get, especially if you haven't seen everything, if you have not told the whole story of everything. And that's why I always come back to the Bible. You have to tell the whole story, because if you don't know the whole story, we really don't know what you're talking about. You could be preaching from some point of something else from your own life experiences, but never from the story that actually was told from the Bible in that verse. So it's we can pretend to know all these different things and understand and how it all works out, and really you don't. What is that thing when it said, when you have a plan, God laughs at you? I don't know. I ain't really made any huge plans, and I've learned to make my goals smaller and achievable, and also to continue to have the big dreams that I have. So, when God does something, He laughs at you. When you make plans, God laughs at you, because it's in life, you don't know what those twists and turns do, and you got to be ready for them. You can't always end up in disappointment. Sometimes you will. I'm not even gonna say, because I'm not gonna say that at this moment I don't feel it's almost at this point, I can't lie and be I don't feel like I should be somewhere else. You see, because it's I didn't put myself here in this situation seriously. I didn't. But just because of life and things that happen, it happened that way. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost but I wasn't the person to start the flame. I wasn't the person to start the fire. Somebody else was. And so what do I get out of that? How do I go? How do I do it? And what do I do in order to get it done? So that's where I'm at. I guess, but it's just the association with some people. That's what I have learned. And that's what I'm thinking. That's what happens, is where people will be okay, yeah, it was you did, yeah, because that company is like this, and so then therefore you had to be like that. And it's well, what happened to the Enron people? Where they at? Give me a success story about Enron. But anyway, that's it. I mean, I probably wasn't even in the vicinity when half of this stuff happened with this person. So, it's man, I don't know her. I don't know none about her. I just know the treatment of people that I saw. All I know is what I saw. But, that's where I'm at. So then the other thing is what is today anyway? Is today Wednesday? Wellness Wednesday. So, that's the whole thing too. It's I'm noticing too that in this experience, I have to fight for myself. It's oh man, man, I gotta fight for myself all the time. It's I gotta prove this because of this, and it's well, I don't know. I don't mind explaining it. I know people, well, you grown, if you don't have to explain nothing to nobody, but really you kind of do. Just so people understand what's going on sometimes. And then sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes people just need to understand that that's why you don't want to tell them. Some things we are not you feel iffy about saying something about it, even though it might not matter to the other person. It might be a little bit iffy. Like if you black and you tell somebody you don't want to eat white stuff, they should understand that has something to do with diabetes, and we are predetermined for diabetes. People don't understand that. Even black people don't understand it. So it's almost like to explain it. Do you explain to black and white people? Do you explain to everybody, or do you then therefore teach that inside the classroom? Salt, high blood pressure. They have also found that black people have something with salt. It's like something with salt. Like it's like our body isn't actually doing the right thing with the salt. So that's why we get high blood pressure at a high and alarming rate. So it's like you always have to find something else to season your food with that's not including salt, which I always tell people garlic is like garlic, lemon, those two things. I'm sorry. Like it's like you don't live without them, please, unless you allergic or something like that. But it's just like those things help your food too. They help flavor it. Also, the best sauce that I ever had, a tomato sauce, was made with real tomatoes. Even though now I can't have tomatoes, it's real tomatoes. Like they just like, it's just something about it, the best things I've had have been fresh. Like I've cut it up and put it in a pan and done everything I'm supposed to do with it. So that's the whole thing too. It's like I just feel like people, everything cannot be American. That's what I'm trying to say. Like everything can be moved into something else, and it's like if it's close the door. And so it's almost like, I think that's like an American standard. Like we have this whole American standard that we try to go by, and that is not always our culture. And once you start to explain your culture, or you say to somebody, this is my culture because of your skin color, and people try to act like it's not, because you're black, they feel like, well, no, you have to be understood. Black people also cannot have a lot of milk. Like it's not a milk, it's just a thing where at some point in your life you become lactose intolerant. If you go back and trace your history, you'll probably be mixed with something different. I'm pretty sure of it. But anyway, like we have a predisposition to lactose. So it's like, okay, no,
I don't.
You don't, but some people do. So it's almost like see, you hear him? You don't. So in his house, when I go over to my son's house, it's going to be different. Even though I raised him the way that I eat, he himself will still be different. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like we are all
different.
Yeah, we're all different, and sometimes those differences need to be understood, not looked at as a bad thing, not put down in any type of way. Just make sure that they are all understood, and it's okay to understand though. Don't get to the point where you feel like it's like, oh God, look at her, that person is this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, really, they're not trying to be. They just trying to protect themselves. Like seriously trying to protect themselves from being sick, from being anxious, from being depressed, from being pre-depressed, from being post-depressed, anything. And if somebody is doing that to protect themselves, don't see it as a strange thing. Don't think that it's something against you, because I just also had that too, where I was in a situation, and as soon as I got in the car, I was just like, maybe that person doesn't like me. And it was like, I was driving down the street, and this man, he made a face. He was like making this grotesque face. And I look over and I'm like, I didn't do anything to that man. Like, why is he looking at me like that? And he even stopped the car and turned the corner. And it could have been something he was listening to. It could have been somebody on the phone saying, this is happening, you need to come home. And just so happened, he turns around and look at me. You see what I'm saying? It's just in that moment. So in that moment, I'm thinking, oh my God, what did I do to this person? Like, what did I do to him? And it probably wasn't even about me. It could have been about anything else but what that was. So we also have this thing where we just automatically think it's us. Like, oh my God, this person didn't like this, so it was me. No, the person probably didn't like it because they have to protect themselves against something. And they just don't, and it's not offensive to you or anything like that. It's just like, hey, they got to protect themselves. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay for them to do that. And I think that comes with the whole thing of self-love. That's why some people would feel like self-love was a selfish thing. It is selfish, but at the same time, it's a self-love thing where you take care of you, and you will want that person too, because if you push them to the point, okay, take this milk, and then they in the bathroom all day, they miss work and all this stuff trying to please you. Oh yeah, eat this right here, and then they end up with diabetes or something unhealthy for them, and you just and it's because you wanted to push them to a point or make them feel uncomfortable to a point where that's not you to make you feel comfortable. Everything cannot be done the way you would like it to be, and that is a history issue with America. I learned that too when I went to my son's school. At the time when he was I raised him basically he was a vegetarian, so he would always have almond milk, and I told him, I said, I want him to have almond milk. Well, how are you gonna afford it? I was like, whoa, like just things like that. I don't care if I can't pay his daycare, he gonna eat. But it's like, so that's the whole thing. I did not like that, because I'm like, wait a minute, that's my culture. You're telling me that my culture is the same as yours, and it's not. You're telling me that my behaviors are the same as yours, and they are not. And that's the one thing that we also have to look at too. Even though we are in this situation where we all need to get along, we also need to understand the differences that go along with that too. And that's the stuff that starts to separate us too, because we start to feel like this is my fault, this is my fault, this is my fault, or this person is offended, and it's like, no, they really aren't, and none of it is your fault. It's just they are doing that to protect themselves. They are going through this so they don't have the issues. You want more?
No, are you hungry?
No, I'm not. I already ate.
Well,
I mean, I don't want this.
Where did I put this stuff?
Just put it in the sink. And make sure you go back and wash your face. You still got something on your face. That is Mr. Blake. He's making an appearance onto the show. But yeah, that's it. Like, it's just like, make sure that you understand when somebody is protecting themselves, that it's not an issue with you. None of it is. It has nothing to do with you. That's that id thing I'm talking about, where you automatically think, oh my God, you blame yourself. All of us do it. All of us do it. Whether we think we do or not, all of us do it. But then once you get past your id, yourself, you end up in another place when you start to think about everybody else around you and the experiences that you have and your particularities and all these different things. And then that's when it ends up being, okay, wait a minute, I didn't listen. Their culture is not mine. My culture is not theirs. This is me. So it's really, again, culture is not about survival. It could be. I see how somebody could say, okay, a culture is a survival thing. It's really not. Culture is your traditions, your achievements, the things that you go through, the different things that you think about, the different thoughts that you make, all those great things. That's your culture. You see? So it's like you have to create that. You understand? Like, it is like that has to be. Like that's just something that naturally comes from you. I love to dance. That's my culture. I don't watch TV. That's my culture. We create a lot of stuff. That's my culture. You understand? So somebody else may say, me and my kid do a lot of math. We do a lot of reading. That's their culture. That's what they do. We saying we watch a lot of TV. This is the show we watch together as a family, whatever. But either way, whatever they do, it's not always first thought is against you. The first thought is they are there and doing the things that they love to do, and in that process they protect themselves with what they know and how they do what they do, how they eat the way they eat, you see. And so when we cross over to different cultures, we want to be sure that we are still standing in the same lines of respect and different things like that. Because I could even see how some people could be like, you're not Hispanic, why are you telling your kid all those things? Because that's just what it was, the culture in my classroom. So then therefore I brought it out into the classroom. Not all the time. And it was a culture in my home at one point. So not everything I say to my kid is something I always say in the classroom. I had to think about that too. Like, I never, so anyway, those are the things. So you're not Hispanic. Some people can say Ayurveda. I say Ayurveda to some South Asian people, and they're like, no, I don't know what that is, but they know what it is, so it's almost, some people don't look at the stars, some people don't read horoscopes. I do, it's like all those different things, but some of us do, and that's how sometimes we transcend over into different cultures. But anyway, I think that's it. It's just like, I have really learned that, like, association with some people, they will automatically think that's you, that you are this person, based on what they know about somebody else. The other thing is that it is okay for you to totally protect yourself and for you to represent your culture. It is okay